Welcome back to the show. It is a delight for me to have Justice Lee Harris of the 10th Court of Appeals here with me to talk about the appellate court and what all he does, but more importantly, to find out who he is and what makes him tick. And happy to have you here.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, our mutual friend Rex Davis kind of put us in contact, which I was really happy about. You just recently came on the court. You were appointed, right?
Yes, when you have a vacancy on any state level court, district, one of the intermediate courts of appeals, or whether it's one of the two high courts, the governor makes the appointment. The Senate confirms the appointment if they wish, and that's the situation I was in January 6th when Matt Johnson moved from the position I'm in now to the chief's position. The governor appointed me that afternoon late, and I came down from Hill County where I was on the bench there. Former Chief Justice Davis swore me in, and the next morning we started work. So very quick transition.
Hit the ground running.
Yes.
What kind of, did you get a call from the governor? How did that all work where you found out, I may be moving?
Well, they have an application process, and they don't, I suppose, maybe advertise it or anything, but I knew what was happening on the 10th Court since I was on the district court bench in Hill County for the previous 10 years. And so there's a questionnaire and an application that you fill out and send to the governor's appointments director. Mm-hmm. And then if they decide that it's somebody they might be interested in, you go through an interview process with the general counsel's office for the governor and with a lady named Peggy Venable, who's his chief of appointments. And they whittle it down to whoever they want. That's who they choose. And then, like I said, the Senate later has to confirm you.
Right, it's a confirmation process.
Yes.
Well, let's ask, when did you know you wanted to be a judge? Is this always kind of the career path you were thinking?
I think so. I went to law school here at Baylor when Lewis Muldrow was in charge of the practice court program.
Knew him.
And I don't know how many things that he said where he would stop and say, for those of you who are going to be judges, and it would always kind of strike me. Oh. And I don't know how many times over the last now I've been on the bench for just over 20 years, now my third different bench. And I don't know how many times something Lewis Muldrow said has come to mind, but many, many times. Mm-hmm. And it just, so I think probably early on, I guess officially it was December 23rd of 2004, I decided I wanted to be a judge, but that was, but it goes all the way back to law school, really.
Yeah, of course, I knew Lewis Muldrow through Naaman Howell Smith and Lee, his yes. Work there. So you don't just start out being a judge.
No.
Out of law school.
I practiced law about 12 years before I'm.
So you were a prosecutor, is that right?
I have been a prosecutor. I have been a defense lawyer. Mm-hmm. I have done general civil litigation. But yes, I prosecuted a lot of cases in Hill County from 99 till I went on the bench in 2005, about 600 felony cases.
So you got your undergraduate degree, though, at Stephen F. Austin?
Yes.
In agriculture.
Agriculture.
How did that happen?
Well, I had been very involved in the FFA program in high school, mm-hmm. and ended up being, I won the National FFA Prepared Public Speaking Contest in my senior year in high school, going into freshman year in college. Was elected a state officer and later a national officer candidate. And because of that, I was able to apply for a Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Scholarship. But the requirement back then was you had to go to one of the 8 agricultural schools in the state, and you had to major in something agriculture. My family was not wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. I had 2 younger brothers, so I thought, well, I better grab this scholarship and run. And it has worked out very well for me. I still use it. Up until a few years ago, I had a ranch. I worked with a disaster relief group called Amigos Internationales, and we are now breeding meat and milk goats in Africa and Uganda, and so my side of helping out with that is the goat production, and so I use the degree to this day.
Really? Well, I had seen that you were involved with Amigos Internacionales, and what has that meant for you to be able to? It's a a global kind of charity.
It is. It's funny. We have one paid employee, but we do a whole lot with one paid employee, and it was the vision of a gentleman named Dr. John Lanou. He's 92, still alive, still occasionally preaches a sermon. He worked with the Texas Baptist Men, and he started this group, and they thought it was there was too much liability and too much danger. And can you imagine Texas Baptist Men now having that approach?
Yeah.
So he spun off into this Amigos Internationales, and it started basically with him taking old school buses in the alley behind his house and making them into dental and medical clinics, and then sending them to the Rio Grande Valley in the summer with nursing students, and then both doctors and dentists would go take shifts and volunteer. Later on, as far as I know, he had the first set of boots on the ground in Iran following the hostages leaving on January 20th of 1981.
Really?
Around 1990, they had that huge earthquake near Bam, Iran, and he and about 10 other brave souls flew an old C-130 with a lot of water purifiers and mobile kitchens and landed in Tehran. And luckily enough, were not executed, and were allowed to go out in the countryside with a lot of supervision above them and feed and nourish the people of Iran, minister to them to a certain extent. He's been to North Korea 3 times and has survived those.
Oh my goodness!
He says he's Indiana Jones with a frying pan, and I say he's Indiana Jones with a death wish. But
how did you meet him?
I worked at Baylor Law School in the practice court program,
too,
and Jim's dad was one of the original members of Amigos.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
one day I was talking with Jim, and I said, I feel like there's something else in life I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And he said his dad had just passed away, Jim Sr., and he said, I got a guy I want you to meet. And we met at Frost, which is where Dr. John and his wife had retired to, had a lunch at a little store that's now closed in Frost, and the two of us hit it off, and as I say now, he's the closest thing to a father I have on this earth.
Oh,
And
wow.
so he's a brilliant man, great, gets around awfully good for 92. And
Well, that's neat.
A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Tasmanian spring water range from Sand and Sky. This range is really good for dry and dehydrated skin like myself, packed with 2 types of hyaluronic acid, fermented sea kelp to reduce redness, and my skin feels so dewy and so hydrated.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Let's get back to the court.
sure.
So, what drew you to the 10th Court? I know you were obviously appointed, and that worked out really well. But what does this region kind of mean to you specifically?
Well, as I mentioned a moment ago, I was on the district court bench in Hill County. In 2005, Hill County created the first county court at law in that county. and it was a very broad court, much broader than most county courts at law. It had felony jurisdiction. It had basically unlimited civil jurisdiction by exchanges, things of that nature, family law, everything. And,
Wow.
and I spent 9 years and 4 months, I guess, on that bench. District court judge retired, so I went to that bench and spent 10 years and 6 days there.
But who's counting,
But
right?
who's counting? And in fact, I finished my 20th year on the bench, August 31st, so I'm in year 21 now. And it just kind of seemed like a natural progression. This is an 18-county district, so it's bigger than any state senate district other than maybe some of the Trans-Pecos stuff. But as far as geographically, it stretches literally from, the southern part of the Metroplex, part of Burleson, there in Johnson County is in our district, and it goes all the way to the Piney Woods at Huntsville. And
Huge
so
area.
a huge area. We pick up Brazos County as well. And so it's a pretty well everything between I-35 and I-45, plus Johnson, Hill, Bosque, Somerville, Hamilton, and McLennan counties, and then Angles to the southeast. And I think I kind of got a little tired of trial work. And as I told you before we started, 5 years ago, I would have never dreamed I'd be sitting grading papers, basically. And now here I am, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of cases do you normally hear on the 10th Court?
We hear about 2 out of every 3 cases are criminal.
Really?
Because somebody's liberty's at stake. And
yeah.
so that's kind of, and in fact, there are more criminal jury trials than there are civil by a huge amount. We hear a lot of termination, as far as the civil side, we get a lot of termination of parental rights cases where CPS has stepped in and has had a trial where somebody's rights have been terminated. And then we just hear a lot of general civil cases as well.
Yeah. Well, most people don't see this appellate process up close.
No.
But they could, right? I mean, they
Absolutely.
could come and sit in on.
We have.
So
we
give
have-
us a little peek behind the curtain of what, how these cases then are decided.
Basically, it's a majority rules. There's 3 of us on the court. All of your appellate courts across the state, although they have different numbers of justices, there's quite a few of them have just 3. There's now 15 courts of appeals. But you have others that have, I think Dallas has 13 justices, but they always sit in 3-judge panels. And so basically you got to count to 2 to win. And so the appeals, somebody's unhappy with a judgment, or there are some what we call interlocutory appeals where right in the middle of the case stops and it comes to us, but those are somewhat rare. Most of the time it's a result someone didn't like. They think either the jury got it wrong or the judge made a mistake. They file a notice of appeal within 30 days of their judgment being signed, and we don't have any choice. We have to accept every case that's appealed.
Okay.
Whereas the Texas Supreme Court, which is the highest court on civil cases when you leave one of these 15 intermediate courts, they pick and choose what they choose to hear.
So if they lose in your court, they can still go up to the Texas
They
Supreme
can go up
Court.
to Texas Supreme Court, or if it's a criminal case, the Court of Criminal Appeals.
Okay.
Both 9-judge courts, they do sit what's called en banc with all 9 of them. But both of those courts can look at the underlying case and either say, no, we're pretty sure they got it right, or that's a novel question of law and we want to hear it. I think both of those courts probably only hear about 100 cases total a year, whereas we have the highest, the 10th Court of Appeals has the highest filing per justice in the state.
Really?
And we're at about 140 cases per justice
Oh,
per
my
year
goodness.
each. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
So about 420 cases a year.
Yeah. So when you have a case that it was we'd talked earlier before we started about Justice Brett Kavanaugh and him coming, and it was so fascinating to hear his kind of discussion about the processes that the Supreme Court use and in deliberating and all that kind of thing. So it's pretty collaborative what you all do on the 10th Court of Appeals?
Yes. I guess the best way to put it is we have a natural rotation, we call it, of cases. So the first case that comes in goes to the justice on place 1, the second case goes to justice 2, the third case goes to justice 3, and then we start over again. And then as you work through the case and identify the problems and start drafting an opinion, we usually then circulate that first draft of that opinion to the other 2 justices. And they can say, I think you're on the right track here, or I think you're not. If we have a situation thus far in the 8 months plus I've been on the court, we have not had a dissent from any of the justices. But I think it's mainly because we sit down and talk about the cases. And if someone says, well, I know you're looking at it that way, but how about this? Then we've been able to work through all of those. And it's really been a very refreshing, collaborative experience, because sometimes you realize the way you're looking at something is a bit tunnel vision, and when somebody else brings something up. Now, there will be a time, I'm sure, in the future where one of us just says, no, I don't agree with that. But it's just not happened yet. And I think that says a lot, really, for the 3 guys on the court, to be honest with you. We're all former trial court judges. That's the first time that I know of that's happened since maybe the 60s.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
So the perspective you bring is somewhat unique in that.
If you've been on a trial court bench, sometimes it's a lot easier to see what was done and understand why than if you came at it strictly from, like, those folks on the U.S. Supreme Court. None of them have ever been a trial court judge that I know of. And in fact, nearly all of them come from academia. And so they're brilliant people, don't get me wrong.
Right.
They are absolutely brilliant, all of them. But they don't have that perspective of having been in the trenches and been on a trial court.
Interesting. Want to take a quick break, but I want to learn more, Justice Harris, about your judicial philosophy and some other things about the work that you do. But in the meantime, we will take a quick break. But tell you first, today's show is brought to you by Gather & Co., transforming houses into homes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
If your home's feeling a bit dated or you're dreaming of that beautiful outdoor oasis, I have got the team for you. Gather & Co., the family-owned remodeling pros right here in Greater Waco since 1998. Led by the Falconberry family, they specialize in stunning kitchen and bathroom makeovers. Think custom walk-in showers, sleek cabinetry, and aging-in-place upgrades for easy living. They also nail outdoor spaces with pergolas, patio covers, sunrooms, and screen rooms that turn your backyard into a year-round retreat. What sets them apart? Personalized designs, top-notch craftsmanship, and a hassle-free process for free in-home consultations to spot-on completion, plus financing options to make it simple. Customers love them, raving about the friendly crew and attention to every detail. Ready to gather in your dream home? Call Gather & Co. today, 254-759-1147 for a no-obligation quote. Visit GatherCoRemodeling.com. Your remodel starts here. And welcome back to the show. Justice Lee Harris is here with us with the 10th Court of Appeals, and we've been talking about, the kind of the processes they go through to determine these cases that in a lower court, somebody's not happy with the result, and so, okay, we need some other judges to take a look at it. When you talk about your thinking and philosophy, what do you look for when you're reading a brief or hearing those oral arguments?
Well, a couple of things. As an intermediate court of appeals, if it is a well-settled matter in Texas, particular issue, we don't have to like it, but we have to follow it. It's not our place as an intermediate court. The Texas Supreme Court can overrule itself from some prior matter, just like you saw with the U.S. Supreme Court. But it's even if we think what they previously set down was wrong, we live by it. We are not in a position to say, you know what, y'all got that wrong 30 years ago, we're going to fix it. That's for them to fix. And so the first thing you look at, is this something well settled in Texas? If so, like it or not, we have to follow it. The next thing you look at is if it's not well settled, or if this is maybe a different aspect of it than has maybe previously been addressed by one of the high courts. You look to the sister courts throughout the state. Have they addressed it? And then finally, it comes down to the judge's construction. And I guess, for lack of a better term, I'm what you would call a strict constructionist. I believe very strongly that documents don't live and breathe. They were written at a particular time with a particular mindset, and we have to look to that time period. We have to look to if it's a legislative matter, what was the history in the legislature?
Yeah, the context of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whereas there are justices who would say, well, I'm more of a person who believes the document changes with the times.
Living and breathing.
Living and breathing, and I've picked up a lot of pieces of paper, and I've never seen
I've
one
never
breathe.
seen that happen.
So, I would say that would be my judicial philosophy.
Yeah. So you sometimes though have to make decisions that maybe aren't popular, or maybe kind of you feel personally.
Absolutely.
How do you make those tough calls?
Well, I think you just have to have the moral fiber to realize that you don't have to like something in order to follow it. And that, again, that's up to some folks above my pay grade at one of those two higher courts. If it needs to be changed, I trust that they will change it. But you do just have to have as I said, the moral fiber, I think that's probably just the best way to put it, to realize I've got to follow this whether I like it or not.
You mentioned your great work with Amigos Internacionales.
Yes.
And love that. And I was not really that familiar with that organization. But you also, speaking of Baylor Law School, you served as an adjunct professor. So let's talk a little bit about that work.
I continue
Still
to do
doing
that. Yeah. I was there one afternoon last week. I just worked with the practice court program primarily, which of course is what has always set Baylor apart.
I was going to say they're always top of the heap on
right.
that. Yeah.
And I had done a lot of trial work, really enjoyed trial work. And then after I went on the bench, I kind of started feeling like, maybe I'm losing this edge that you have as a trial attorney. And after about 5 years on the bench, one day I was at a judicial conference, and in walked Brad Tobin, Jerry Powell, and Jim Wren.
Oh,
And
gosh,
I was
What a
sitting,
trio. Talk
one-
about Trace Amigos. there.
Yep. And so I was sitting out in the lobby reading a book, in fact, reading Lone Survivor. And Jim and I had worked together when I first came out of law school, and he came up, sat down beside me, and said, "That's a great book." I said, "Yeah, it is." And he said, "Why are you reading in the lobby?" I said, "Because there's not decent light in my room." And so we started talking, and I said, "Jim, I got to find," and interestingly enough, he also got me involved with Amigos, but I said, "I've got to find something to do that keeps me sharp." And he said, "Well, have you ever thought about coming to work with the students at the law school?" I said, "I'd love that." And so
Yeah.
the next week I get a call saying, we're going to send you a contract and we want you to start helping in the practice court program. And now I'm on my, 31st or 32nd practice court class. So
Oh, my.
it's, because we have 2 classes a year. And so I've been doing it, this is my 16th year. So,
Yeah. Oh, so over that time, just your observations about law students in general and particularly at Baylor.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, they are smart.
I will, sometimes common sense, not so much.
Tie their shoes. Bye.
but as far as their
That's
smarts, it's funny. We right after that whole contract deal, I came down to sign the contract, and we just said David Gwynn walked up while we were talking, and of course he's now passed on, but
Yeah.
he was my constitutional law professor, as he was of generations of Baylor
Yes,
lawyers.
yeah.
And he said, "Let's all go to lunch over at faculty dining," which I didn't know how nice faculty dining was, but we went.
Oh, it's very lovely.
Yes, and we went, and he threw his arm around me as we were walking across the parking lot and said, "Well, how does it feel to work for a law school you probably couldn't get in with a gun anymore?" I said, "Thanks, David." I said, "You remember my work as a student, don't you?" And of course,
Wow.
he had a big smile on his face, but it was that tells me, a whole lot about how brilliant those students are now.
Oh, yeah. My middle son, Joel, is in law school, third year law school at Oklahoma City
Oh,
Law School, and he's 42. So it's something he's always wanted to do, to go to law school. And so he's doing this. Do you see any, older students at Baylor?
oh yes. In fact, all 3 really, of my best friends in law school were, as I was. I had taught school a couple of years before I came back. One of the gentlemen I was in law school with was about 43 by the time we went through practice court. A number of guys in their 30s,
Yeah.
and I still see that those usually are of course, your most practical students. They don't get overwhelmed
Right.
with law school like the younger ones can, but yes, I see a lot of folks who are second career people. Went to law school with one lady that was a medical doctor who
Yeah.
decided she wanted a different
Oh,
career.
my goodness. Yeah.
And went to school, things like maybe, police officers, just a wide variety of people.
Now, I could see someone in law enforcement
Yeah,
wanting
there's
to do that.
a lot
for
of
sure.
those.
What's something that most people would be surprised to learn about the job of an appellate judge?
Probably that we don't actually have trials.
So it would be boring to come and sit and watch
Well,
you guys. Yes or no?
I would say no, as long as you come on the days we have oral argument.
Right. To hear an attorney then
Yes.
presenting his case. Yeah, that would be interesting.
We went last week to MCC for Constitution Day and did 3 rounds of oral argument there that the students attended. We went back in April to Sam Houston State because we have to sit in a county seat. We will go this week. We're having oral argument, I believe it's Thursday, on 2 different cases here. we were going down to Blinn at Bryan because we can't go to College Station because it's outside the county seat. And we will hold our oral arguments there in November, Baylor Law School in December, and then just this last week, Hill College asked us to come in the spring. And so those things are pretty interesting, and they are much like what you see of the U.S. Supreme Court. It's the three of us asking questions, making sure we understand the argument, trying to get maybe a better grasp than just what the written word provides. But I think it shocks people that we never have a witness, we never have, any of those kind of things.
Yeah, hand on the Bible, I swear to tell.
None of that.
So have robe will travel, huh? Sounds like too.
That's kind of our
fascinating.
new, I wouldn't call it new policy. They've done it a little bit the last few years, but we've also kind of made a point to grant more oral argument than maybe in years past, just because we think the litigants and the attorneys deserve to be heard if they want to be heard.
So in your spare time, how do you relax and recharge?
I used to hunt a whole lot more than I do now. I'm a bow hunter. I've been to Africa. I've been all over the U.S.
Wow.
In fact, I'm going on a wolf hunt in Canada this
A wolf
spring.
hunt?
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever talked to a wolf hunter.
Yeah, they're a fascinating animal, very
Yeah.
destructive animal. I hunted mountain lions about 25 years ago and got a huge mountain lion that I have life-size mounted. And after that, I thought, one of these days I want to go after, I saw a wolf, a mounted wolf, and I thought, one of these days I want to go after a wolf. And of course, they're trying to decrease the numbers of wolves because they're prone to really wreak havoc on moose populations and
really?
things like that. Yeah, they brought them into Minnesota. In the first few years, they had very mild winters. And everybody said, look, the moose and the wolves just coexist just fine. And then they got one of those winters where the moose were up to their neck in snow, and just about every moose became a wolf's dinner. And their population has become completely unhuntable.
So what are the numbers like? I mean,
They're still not tremendously high
Yeah.
because you will sit. Basically, they take you out in the morning and they come back and get you that night. And you're sitting over either a prior kill where the wolves had made a kill and you're hoping they return to it. But they're very nomadic. If you see more
they're
than
on the move all the time.
all the time,
Yeah, interesting.
yeah. If you see more than one or two wolves in a week, you've really done something.
That would, of course, you can hear them probably.
Yes, particularly
Of
at
course,
night.
that's, yeah.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
in our world today, there's been so many changes, particularly with technology. How do you see the role of the courts evolving, maybe regarding to just some of the modern things we're dealing with?
It's great in many ways because technology has allowed attorneys to give juries a view they would have never had before, because it's now cheaper to have cameras and to do all the things and experiments and things they can do. But COVID taught me as a trial judge just how important face-to-face dealings are. Because when all you see of someone is that camera screen, and on mine as the judge, a lot of times it looks like the Brady Bunch because you've got people all over it, and you just cannot get the same level of evaluating someone on camera as you can in person.
Sure.
And just to me, there was a great value to having that witness sitting right there as opposed to 100 miles away by Zoom. And yet for way over a year, that's how we in Texas conducted all of our courts. And we taught law students. I mean, there's 2 practice court classes, I guess, that went all the way through practice court just on Zoom. And
we kind of shake our heads at that whole thing in a way, but
I look back on it and I think I can't believe we fell for that. But
a lot of talk about a loss in public trust in our institutions.
yes.
You think, is that affecting the court judicial system, and what can be done about that?
The judiciary is just like the rest of society. You're going to have really good people, but you're also going to have some people that have no business being there. And you hope that that is the one thing I can say that's very good about elected judges. There's a lot of drawbacks to electing your judges, but the good thing is, unlike the federal system, if someone proves themselves to be unfit, then the voters can send them packing. And I think that part is good, but we're not immune to having problems on the judiciary. We do have what's called the Commission on Judicial Conduct.
Sure.
That steps in
Kind of an oversight.
Yes,
Sure, yeah.
and if they, interestingly enough, I didn't know a whole lot how this worked, but if someone is unhappy with what the commission does, they appeal that to the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court, who then appoints 3 members of courts of appeals to serve as a special court of review. I got one of those appointments the other day.
Did you really?
And learned that. Basically, they draw your name out of a hat. They just draw 3 names, and the 3 of you serve as a joint, basically, trial court. It's de novo. In other words, it starts
Sort of
all
like
over.
a court martial in a way.
A lot of what like that.
Yeah. Wow.
And the commission will send a prosecutor. The judge will have their own, hopefully, defense lawyer, and the 3 of us basically it starts all over at that level. It's not really an appeal as it is a new trial.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know I was getting myself into that, but now I know.
Wow.
So,
For young people considering a career in law or public service, what kind of advice do you like to give them?
I speak a lot of times to first-year law students, and the main thing is, even if you go to law school, even number one, I would say go get a degree in something other than pre-law, because it proves that you have diversity, that you can do more than one thing. And so I think that's valuable when you're applying for law school. As far as public service goes, it's so often as lawyers, we get so wrapped up in our practice, our country club becomes our church as opposed to the other way. We lose sight of the fact that even as a lawyer, whether you're a judge or not, we live a pretty good life, and you kind of owe it to give back. And whether it's, an international group that's trying to help people in Uganda
Growing
with water
goats
wells
for
and
'em?
growing goats, drilling a lot of water wells.
Yeah.
It's because those people, I've got photos that'll just turn your stomach where these ladies are walking 4 or 5 miles to dip up 5 gallons of water out of something that literally the night before the wild animals were rolling around in. And so we drill a lot of water wells, and then, like I said, I'm kind of been in charge of our goat raising, and the average child in Uganda has meat twice a year. And so if we can get these Boer goats, continue to produce them, plus we've got a herd of milking goats, there's a protein source that these people never had before.
Really affect lives,
Yeah.
really change lives. Well, I like to wrap up these little visits with a questionnaire similar to the one that late great James Lipton would use on Inside the Actors Studio, if you remember
Sure,
that.
absolutely.
If you remember that. It was sort of my take on it. So I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite word?
Wow. Probably justice.
Yeah.
Just the idea that we do have a just world, and that we are there to make sure on this level that rings true.
Yeah. What about your least favorite word?
Oh, organize. If you look at my desk, you'll see.
Okay.
Probably least favorite word would just be hate. I don't
I
see
hear
a
that a
reason.
lot from people. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Creatively, I love to write, which is made
That's a
this
good thing.
job,
You have to do a little of that in your day job.
and yes, and I really enjoy deeply studying the Bible. When my pastor's gone, a lot of times he'll ask me to fill in and do a sermon, and I think it's very helpful to go back and get, because we were talking earlier about documents and them not breathing and not changing. But sometimes the translations that we get, if you go back and look at the original Greek, and you realize, oh, that might mean something a little different than what it's been translated. So to me, studying something that deeply really is both a mental turn on and then a spiritual turn on as well.
So what turns you off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Well, like I said, hatred.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Going right back to this Charlie Kirk thing, I don't understand that. I don't. I'm not whatever ideas you have, I'm not offended by them. I'm not going to get angry about them. I don't see
Or want to kill you.
or want to kill you over it. And I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got here.
I don't either.
That's what scares me.
Yeah.
Is when you don't know how we got here, you don't know how to fix it, and it just seems to be getting worse.
Yeah.
Not better.
Yeah. What job would you like to have tried that you didn't try? You said you kind of wanted to be a judge from an early age. But.
Well, what's funny is when I took an aptitude test in high school, I think it said I should be a park ranger or a Supreme Court justice.
Well, there you go. You're almost there.
So here we go. So
That's funny.
Something outdoors.
Yeah.
I grew up in a family. I mean, my great-grandfather had a stroke and passed away in his tomato field.
Oh.
And so they live there in Cherokee County, and for some reason or other, the tomatoes from that part of the world have always been famous.
Mm-hmm.
And, so something that would have exposed me more to the outdoors.
Yeah.
I catch myself looking out the window a lot at the courthouse.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What job do you know you don't want, though? No thanks. Somebody else can do that.
law enforcement,
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
yeah, mainly.
But no, that's tough. It's a tough job. And in some cities, you wonder, why does anybody?
Absolutely.
do this
I
job.
mean, I don't, what would motivate anybody to try to, other than a love of their own city, but what would
Yeah,
motivate anybody to
community,
be a police officer in Detroit or Chicago?
Exactly,
or,
exactly.
where you're
For it
hated
to-
for trying to do something right.
What is your favorite sound?
I guess it's probably over the last few years, this sound of waves.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot.
We have a home in Panama City Beach that my wife and I bought a few years ago, and just to go there and open I guess maybe I'm thinking about that because we're going next week.
Oh, good.
But to get there a cool time of year and open the sliders and just listen to the
Just
waves.
listen to the shoreline and the waves crashing on. What about your least favorite sound?
Ooh, probably any screeching or yelling.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't enjoy. It's funny, having spent all those years on a trial court bench, I don't enjoy the sound of two people arguing with each other. And maybe I just heard too much of it. I don't know.
Yeah. One last question then for you. What do you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates, Justice Harris?
Oh, I think what we all want to hear, well done, and that you made a difference on this side. That if you can hear those words, then it pretty well made everything worthwhile.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's been a delight to get to spend some time with you, Justice Lee Harris with the 10th Court of Appeals in
Thank you.
McLennan County, and it's where you're located. And if folks want to learn more about the court, I know you have a nice website and you got a place where any cases you've seen are right there.
yes, the 10th Court of Appeals has a good website. You can read all of our opinions. They're all published. All of our oral arguments are recorded, and the person can listen to them there on that website.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, personally, I've got a justiceleeharris.com website. So those things will.
Learn more about you. Well, we appreciate your time.
Well,
for
thank
sure.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate being here.
Stay with us. Today's show is brought to you by Fox & Co. Bakery, where we bake foxy things. More of the show is ahead. A big thank you to our sponsor, Fox & Co. Bakery. Check them out for delicious baked goods and your catering needs.
Natural Cycles identifies your fertile window by analyzing changes in your temperature. Just measure in the morning, add your temperature into the app, then learn which days you can and cannot get pregnant. It's that easy. Learn more at naturalcycles.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Late night, wide awake, laying here alone. 1 o'clock on the dot when I call. and wishing I was dead. Now she's hot breathing on another man, scheming about what she's gonna say to me. She knows I want it more, but now her clothes are on the floor and his hands over my hands to be. And it's too late, or maybe it was fate. I should have seen it coming all along. 'Cause a good girl, well, she can only be good until all this good is gone. Yeah. Oh, 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 I don't wanna be home tonight. Oh, 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 anybody smoking a light. Oh, 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 don't you worry, don't stress that pretty head. I'll write some songs about whiskey and cigarettes and wishing I was dead.
Webster Market is celebrating their grand opening tonight from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. with shopping, live music, and light bites. You can explore the market, shop for rodeo-ready outfits just in time for the heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo, and see what's new inside. Sunshine Paddle Adventures has all sorts of river tours to get into, and it is not just paddle boards, but kayaks too. They have a sunset tour, tunnel tour, full moon paddle, singles paddles, and pizza and paddle night. And today marks the launch of the Haunted Paddle for spooky season. So get out and tour the Brazos with the Sunshine Paddle Adventures. Esther's Closet has been packed full thanks to the generosity of our community, but they still have certain items that they could use. Esther's Closet is still in need of plus-size tops, non-slip shoes, new socks, belts, purses, and reusable tote bags. Donations to Esther's Closet will be used to enhance the lives of women in our community, providing professional workwear, workforce development, and educational pathways. I'm Elizabeth Riley with your Act Locally Waco News, and I'll see you next time.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
miles on the Gulf Stream. I hear the south wind moan. The bridge is getting lower. The shrimp boat's coming home. The old man down in the quarter slowly turns his head, takes a sip from his whiskey bottle, and this is what he said. I was born in the rain on the Pontchartrain underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, a devil's daughter, she's hard, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. Man came down from Chicago, he's gonna set that levee right. He said it needs to be at least 3 feet higher, won't make it through the night. But the old man down in the quarter, he said, don't you listen to that boy. The water be down by morning, and he'll be back to Illinois. I was born in the rain on the Pontchartrain underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, the devil's daughter, she's hard, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. 30 miles on the Gulf Stream, I hear the south wind moan. The bridge is getting lower, the shrimp boat's coming home. The old man down in the quarter slowly turns his head, takes a sip from his whiskey bottle, and this is what he said. I was born in the rain on the Pontchartrain underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, the devil's daughter, she's hard, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. I was born in the rain on the Pontchartrain underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane, they come around every June. The high black water, the devil's daughter, she's hard, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans.